What's good, man? What's good with it? It's your boy. You already know what time it is. All praise be to the Most High God, man. I hope y'all been living right. Hope you've been exercising, getting stronger, getting smarter. That's to our men and our women. Getting more spiritually aware, getting more spiritually in tune, getting more spiritually better for the people around you. And I'm just trying to get straight into it. And this is a video that I probably should have made a while ago, but I just wasn't on that time at that point. But at the moment, I am. And what I'm really talking about is politics. And I'm not talking about politics in the classic sense because I don't care for politics. And neither should you. You should care for politics, but not care for it at the same time. And I know that's an oxymoron, obviously. But you have to be able to observe politics and be aware of it, but not indulge your own self into it, if you see what I'm saying. Because when you see those who indulge their own self into it, they usually always have buyer's remorse. They're usually always sad. They usually always are tricked and duped. And if they're not, they probably got paid, because every time we see any politician, they are honestly never for our interest. They're for their own interest. Anybody who knows the game of politics understands that wholeheartedly. So it's a thing to where you put your energy into someone who don't give a flying, care about you. So, that on that spectrum, but also on the spectrum, I say observe it, because you need to observe the people around you, how they act with politics. If they're one of those people who get so sucked into politics that they start going against you, and it's one thing to look at certain things and, certain points, not just the not just the people themselves. You look at certain points and certain things, yeah, they are manipulated by the media to make it seem like they're more of a problem than what they are, but at the same time, they are important to understand where people stand at. But you can't get so caught up in it that you start ruining your own familial relationships based upon this. And when I say that, it goes both ways in the sense of how everyone acted with the whole Kamala and Trump situation, how everyone split. And well, it's three groups. People who didn't give a damn, who knew that things are going to play out how they're going to play out, not because the whites are too powerful or anything like that. It's because, let's be real, who in their right mind thinks that America will let their people that they purposely keep dumb choose their president? Who thinks that? Like, I want to know who really thinks that in America. Like, I really want to know. I want to look them in their face and see what type of person they are. Because if you really do, I don't know, man. I don't know what you have going on. This is the same country that bombs other countries for being, just a regular nation that loves their own people. This is the same country that rigs elections in other countries. This is the same country that hijacks governments. Do you not think they'll try to hijack their own? Like, what are we talking about here? They're going to go for, the people in power are going to go for whoever is going to keep them in power. We've seen what happened with JFK. Even if you're in power, doesn't mean you're going to stay in power if you deal with the wrong people within your country, in the wrong way. So we got to use our common sense with that. And a lot of us don't. So, like I say, when you watch politics enough, just observe everyone who's reacting. You can even see social media personalities and those people. You can see where their allegiance lies. And not just to a politician, but to an ideology, to a spirit. To a dollar. You can see it if you just pay attention. Most people, they let the politics trick them out who they really are, trick them out their own spirit. Now they're repping whatever for life, like a nigga who joined the gang. Not saying anybody who joined the gang don't have a spirit, but this is like the nigga who makes the gang his whole life. He blood ATT Kwani, and he got all the shits on his face, and like he gonna die this way. And he made this shit his life. He gotta be this now. He's stuck on stage. He can no longer say, "Oh, I'm gonna just be a regular nigga who do this and make little jokes and shit like that." Nah, nigga, do this. And you can try to do that other shit, but that shit gonna follow you there. And it's not just gonna be so cut and dry. You doing this? It never will be. But at the same time, it's gonna be a lot of the other shit. And like I say all this to just basically come to the conclusion of pay attention to politics, but don't participate in them. Participate in them if you have the power. Participate in them if you have the control. But don't participate if you don't have the control. Don't participate if you're a lapdog. Don't participate if you're a lackey. Don't participate if you're just someone who's going to follow up. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get duped. You're going to get tricked. You're going to get finessed. And it's not always a bad finesse to where you're even gonna get hurt, but you just might get not what you wanted, you know. And a lot of times that can be a disappointing thing that can affect other things in a chain reaction. You know, some people, even when you talk with the black community, most of us who have actually tried to help the black community or who looked into how we can help the black community, most of us realize most of the avenues to help the black community are scams. That's just 100% of the fact. Most of them are scams. No matter if they're this camp of people, if they're this group of people, if they're whatever. Most of them are scamming you because they see an avenue to make money. They see you have a desire for belief in something that's going to help you out your oppression, and we're going to take money from you because of it. Terrible, heinous people, yes, but once you understand this, you understand, okay, when I see most black movements, this is what it is, you know? Rather than saying that any black movement that jump up and sound good, I'm going to join them. And most of us already have that buyer's remorse, and this is the problem with it, because most of us have that buyer's remorse, but we can't decipher when something is good and not, because we just say we're not going to fuck with none of it. And that's when we get into ignorance and our ears become shut. And that's what I fear is happening now, because now people don't care about nothing because all the stupid niggas who was following Trump, who wasn't listening to what he was saying from the jump, now I feel like Trump's a liar because they were listening to what he said back then. So now they realize, oh, okay, I'm just not listening to no one. We knew Kamala was a liar. Everyone knew Kamala was a liar. That's why no one trusted her. That's why no one trusted her gimmick. And the Democrats should have never promoted her like that if they wanted to win. But they were so busy trying to manipulate that they couldn't see what they were doing. They were tarnishing themselves. And that's all fine and dandy because I don't give a damn. But at the same time, for our people, now we're in a mindset of ignorance. And we're in a mindset of shut down. A lot of us are. And most of us have to be, because now we understand that everyone's just liars. The internet has been out for about, for a mass majority of people, for about 15 years, 15, 20 years. So within that decade of people, these new people are now realizing what it was. The other people who were always manipulated by the television and things, they didn't. But now, more of us do. So things are changing and probably becoming worse because these people aren't necessarily smarter. You know, they're just more advanced. And, you know, that just brings me to the conclusion that, like I say, pay attention, but don't fall victim to it, because what happens is they'll manipulate you through these televisions, they'll manipulate you through these phones, they'll manipulate you through these social media apps. You have to just read things for what they are and understand the context of the situation, because the context of what they're telling you isn't the context 9 times out of 10. You have to understand, typically when something's happening, it's cut and dry reasons. It's not so metal and not so ideology based. It's ideology based, but the ideology is based off, you know what I'm saying? It's ideology based for a reason. These people won't let us in their shit because they these certain type of motherfuckers. So now we have to make them a certain type of motherfucker for them to let us in their shit. And why do we want to be in their shit? Because we want to take over our old ancient homelands and get oil and get all these resources that we need to make these super weapons to fight who the fuck ever you trying to fight. And we all have to ask ourselves, if we can destroy nations with nuclear weapons, who are we making more weapons to destroy? And that's just a whole nother conversation. Who are we making more devastating weapons to destroy? What are we making more devastating weapons to destroy? You know, we have to ask these type of questions. But that's beyond the point, man. I appreciate it. Y'all take it easy, man. All praise be to the Most High God, man.